What's up, people? We are back with more of Katawa Shoujo. In the previous video we saw a lot of improvement in Hanako, and just also between the sort of friendship of Hanako and Hisao as well. So let's just keep it going, let's keep the Hanako and Hisao train going, choo choo, cause we ain't freaking stopping. So let's continue. Finally reaching the classroom after the usual walk from the dormitories, I step inside. My eyes immediately turn to the third seat from the left in the back row, Hanako's seat. It's empty, and after glancing around the classroom, it looks like she isn't here yet. The two girls from the newspaper club are here in the two seats to the left of Hanako's, as are Shizune and Misha, but that's about it. We exchange morning greetings before I take my seat. I have to admit that this is a bit of a relief. This gives me at least a few more minutes to think. Not that I haven't been doing so previously. Ever since our trip to town, Hanako has been on my mind. I still don't know what to make of my relationship with Hanako. I like her. I can admit that much to myself. I want to protect and shield her from the pain she feels. I really don't think my feelings are those of friendships anymore. But that said, I feel like I don't even know her. If I made a move on her, how would she take it? Is she in an emotional state that allows her to make a reasonable decision about a relationship? How would she cope with anything that might happen afterwards? There's also the possibility that I'm just completely misinterpreting Hanako. Not a difficult thing to do with someone whose social skills seems to be so underdeveloped. The sound of footsteps comes up to the door, making me perk up. Miki. It ends up just being Miki. It's just Miki. Pfft, she's a nobody. I didn't say that, Miki. Don't hit me. She barely acknowledges my existence. Oh, okay. She probably heard me. She's like, Hisao, you don't exist for me. Alright, you wanna play that game, Miki? Fine. When I accidentally make eye contact with her, I'm about to look away, but another person comes in not long after she takes her seat. It is my Hanako. I feel myself freeze as I see Hanako enter. This isn't a rational reaction, but I have no idea about how I should act or what I should say to her. For a moment, our eyes meet. And then, just as quickly, she looks away and moves to her seat without saying a single word. No good morning even? As is now usual for the period following classes, my face is buried deep in a book that I find thoroughly uninteresting. Studying is not something that comes naturally to me. I didn't study a lot before coming to Yamaku, and until now, I've largely managed to coast through on talent alone. It's frustrating that I can't do that anymore. Judging by the faces of the other few students in the library, I don't think I'm alone in my distaste for this. Misery loves company, I suppose. I decided to spend lunchtime with Hanako, since we haven't had lunch together for a while now. I may as well have spent the time studying though. Aside from the pathetically small snippets of small talk, there was barely a word said between us. Why does she keep doing this to me? I just want to protect her, to be there for her. But every time I feel like we're coming closer, we end up further away. Are you busy? Hanako? Don't sneak up on me, girl. My head whips around in surprise, causing her to retreat in fright. That was bad timing. If I hadn't been thinking about her at that very moment, I probably wouldn't have been nearly so startled. Sorry, you just startled me. I find myself staring at her longer than I should, so I go back to the text lying on the table in front of me. I feel more like I'm just staring at the words, rather than actually reading. I get the feeling Hanako can notice this as well, so I sigh and close the book. Oh, she looks so sad, like, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. That was not her intention. What's up? I was just wondering what you were reading. She looks a little downcast after my reaction to seeing her. giving up on the prospect of getting any more work done, I get up and return the book to its place on the nearby shelf. See, that's what I mean, and that's why I feel like Hanako is so fragile, you know? Because she actually came to us wanting to interact in some sort of conversation, you know, asking us like, oh, what are you reading? And that is a big step for Hanako, and then we just, because we didn't expect it and we were, you know, our mind was somewhere else as well. So the thought that when suddenly Hanako interrupts us, out of nowhere seemingly, then we just like, you know, we get a little startled, scared, like, oh, what? And then from that reaction alone, she immediately just like kind of shuts down a little bit and just, you know, thinks like, oh no, not thinking that she did something wrong or something, but just like, I don't know, that probably makes her feel like that's again like that closeness, and then immediately that distance that Hisao was sort of talking about. Like if you just make one small wrong move that wasn't even on purpose, you know, then it just feels like Hanako, it can just completely go the other direction, and that's really unfortunate. Oh, Hanako, I'm trying my best, girl. Just an English textbook. Has it helped? It helped me realize that I don't like English, yeah. Hanako gives a small giggle. I may muse on the strange state of our relationship, but I do know that such little gestures are things that I wouldn't see were I not at least some distance closer to her than we first met. I look at her for a moment, thinking about what I do and what I don't know about her. It's a slightly depressing topic. Is something wrong? If I want to know more about her, maybe I should stop being so evasive about it. Talking with Lily as an equal, rather than being constantly in fear of causing her to become upset, worked fine. So I should just try a straightforward approach with Hanako as well. I mean, you know, it could work out very well, because it's one of those things like, you know, Hanako, because she seems very fragile and in some ways is very fragile, but I think a straightforward approach can actually work very well, because you know, because she looks so fragile, people, even the people that are sort of a little bit close to her, which aren't many people, but those people probably, at least, you know, treat her in kind of a fragile way as well. So maybe taking a different approach and just being a bit straightforward, like, Hanako, I actually want to get to know you better, you know? Not necessarily say like, I love you, girl, but, you know, that could work out, or, I don't know, or it could backfire again, you know? That's just a risky thing, but you gotta do something, I feel like, and, you know, it's either just, if Hisao has the patience to go through it very slowly, then that's an option. If he doesn't and just wants to take a more straightforward approach, he could try that as well, but, you know, I don't know. I personally don't even know what the hell would work, you know, because a person like this is just, it's just so scary in a way, because you don't want to hurt. You know that this person has already gone through a lot of pain and is actually, you know, daily probably going through a lot of pain as well, and you don't want to make it worse, but sometimes your actions can actually cause things to make worse, and then you're just like, yeah, fuck, well, I'm trying to help, you know, but I'm actually achieving the opposite. It's about the intentions, right? Hey, Hanako, do you mind if I ask you a question? I don't mind. I want to know what your life was like. Your life before coming to Yamaku. She hesitates. I briefly consider backing off, but she seems to be taking the question quite seriously. I sit and watch her, silently letting her take her time. She's not making eye contact with me, and looks almost as if she's arguing with herself into letting herself open up to me more. Her answer finally comes in a stiff, almost reluctant nod. She looks far more tense than she did before I'd asked. Okay, but in return, you have to tell me about your life as well. I nod and follow her as she begins to walk out the library so we can talk. By now, most of the students have already left the main building, so apart from a few people hovering around club rooms, the hallways are largely empty. I guess we'll start with coming to Yamaku. Let's see. I was in the hospital when my parents first told me about Yamaku Academy. The doctors told me I shouldn't go to my old school anymore, My parents agreed and persuaded me to apply for Yamaku, even though it would mean living away from them for the first time. It must have been hard for you. Well, yeah, I have to admit that it was. My parents both work long hours and full time, so having to live reasonably independently wasn't anything new to me. It was the fact that I was going to a school for disabled students that hit hardest, I think. And you? A small group of chatting girls passes us as we near the stairs, with Hanako pressing herself tightly to my side until we reach the ground floor. She doesn't usually come this close while just walking in the school, so I'm left a little put off. The staff at the orphanage offered me some options on what I could do. Middle school hadn't been so good, so I thought that Yamaku might be better. It was isolated, and I thought it might be easier to get by here with most of the others being disabled. It's pretty ironic that the reasons Hanako looked forward to Yamaku are the exact reasons I hated the idea. To me, it felt like I was being shunted somewhere away from society and everyone I knew. To Hanako, that was probably an inviting prospect. Because for Hisao, it was a new thing, right? He just suddenly became like, oh wait, that means that I'm disabled as well. That means I'm like them. But it's like the struggle of acceptance of that for Hisao at first, I felt. Whereas Hanako is just like, she has, for the larger part of her life, she's had those scars. She had those burns on her body. So for her, it was like she already lived in a normal school with those burns and just knew how that was. So she wanted to go somewhere where hopefully she wouldn't have a similar bad experience at school. Which is Yamaku. Well, she thought. What was life like at the orphanage? It was okay. The staff there were nice, and they took care of us. The children there didn't talk to me much, but I didn't really want to talk with them either, so I didn't mind. The orphanage had a little library, so I started to read to pass the time. The staff didn't mind it, because it made me easier to handle than many of the other children. You didn't make any friends there? No. I think my life was on hold during that time. I knew that, but I didn't mind. To think her life was on hold for all that time, though. Depending on when the fire happened, that was a huge chunk of her life. No parents, no friends, apparently no relatives. We walked through the door into the courtyard. I expected to need to avert my eyes from the sun, but by now, it's well into sunset. Hanako's eyes keep flicking to me, so I look away from her for a bit. What was it like in the hospital? I quickly clear my thoughts and try to refocus them. I hesitate for a bit, but I know that I have to tell her. We're close enough for her to feel comfortable telling me this, so it's only fair that I reciprocate. It was okay at times, but at others, it was pretty bad. At the beginning, everyone sent their sympathies and came to visit often. It was just like breaking an arm or something. Meeting all my friends was one of the good times. Iwanako came in often as well, more often than anyone else. But there were bad times too. When my friends slowly stopped visiting, I began to realize how grave my situation was. It reminded me that this wasn't just a broken limb, but I now was a different person than before. Even the times Iwanako would spend with me became torturous. By the end, we were reduced to silence, whereas before, she'd be talking constantly. But that's how Iwanako always was. She may have been a fragile person, but she would talk constantly to try and hide that fact. Not about anything in particular, just talk. I think the three lowest point would have been when my parents told me I wouldn't be going to my old school anymore, my birthday passing while in the hospital, and when Iwanako left for the last time. We leave the school building behind us as we begin to follow the main path through the gardens. There may have been the odd bystander in the school buildings, but outside, we're practically lonely. Or alone, rather, not lonely. We're together, we can't be lonely when we have Hanako with us. What was your middle school like? I liked it. I grew up in a really metropolitan area, and the middle school was nearby, so it was pretty crowded. I didn't mind it, probably because I'm used to being in crowds and around lots of other people. I got good grades, and I played soccer with my friends. I spent a fair bit of time hanging out with them after school as well. Did get teased a bit over my hair though. What's wrong with his hair? His hair looked fairly normal. Your hair? I grimace a little as I put a hand over my hair to cover it. Is he already balding? What? I keep getting tufts and strands that refuse to flatten or stay where I wanted them. And my mother wouldn't just get my hair shaved. Really? He wanted to get his hair shaved? It had a habit of popping out, no matter how much I tried to brush it down. Like that. It still does. A little. I was worried I'd get that reply. Sorry. I didn't mean to. I give a mild laugh and wave it off. It's fine. I know it still does. It feels strange to have someone act so interested in my past. If it were anyone else, I think they were just acting polite. But that's something I really don't think Hanako would do. Or if she did, she'd do it so badly that it would be obvious. There are a number of girls in the common room on the ground floor, and Hanako presses herself to my side once more as we pass them. I expect her to break off, but instead, she continues to cling on to me as we walk towards the stairway. Something about the way she's holding on to me feels different from the usual. Closer, its closeness. I'm left deep in thought as we walk up the stairs and down the hallway. It's only when we stop that I look up and realize that I've been following her without question. Why did we come to your dormitory room? She looks straight at the door, without so much as a glance in my direction. Hanako? She moves to answer, but stops herself. Instead, she silently breaks from my side, opens the door, and steps inside. I look up and down the hallway, a bit lost as to exactly what I should do. Shrugging, I decide to follow her since I don't have any reason to do otherwise. Hanako stands in the middle of her room and looks straight at me. It's unnerving when she does this, and it's such an unusual action for her. I open my mouth to speak, but she preempts me. Could you close and lock the door? What? Hanako's hand reaches for her chest, grabbing her blouse at her heart. What, Hanako? What are we doing? What's happening? Is this like she's like, my master plan is working. I want Hisao to get close to me, and then when he finally does, I lure him into my room and murder him. Of course not. Of course, that's not what our lovely Hanako would do. I mean, come on. If that was the case, she actually had multiple opportunities to do so already. I turn and lock the door shut, then freeze. The atmosphere is beginning to feel quite strange. This feeling is only made more profound when I hear the curtains being pulled behind me. Why do we need all this privacy? Like, you know, normally it's already private enough if you're alone with a person in their room, but she's like, close the door, lock it, alright, close the curtains, I like the darkness. It's going to be night soon. We're a guy and a girl in a bedroom, and she's closing the curtains. And I'm shutting and locking the door. She can't. She really can't have that in mind. Can she? I gulp and turn around very, very slowly. Hanako is in the center of the room, but hasn't turned back to face me. You told me about your past, so I have to tell you mine. She takes a deep, shuddering breath and pauses for a number of seconds. Her hands move to her ribbon and begin to tug, all but confirming my thoughts. Hanako! Please, don't say anything. I obediently stay hushed as she slips off her ribbon and continues to unbutton her blouse before working the clip on her bra. The process is slow. Perhaps it just feels slow because of what she's doing. I'm not sure. Frozen to the spot, all I can do is watch as Hanako, hands trembling, unclips her skirt and lets it drop to the ground. Oh, what? Oh my god. This is... I don't even know. Like, this is probably part of her thinking, you know, that we have to be even as well, and the fact that, you know, we showed her our scar, as little as it may be, it was still our scar, you know? And Hanako probably feels like, you know, this is part of her past, as it was with Hisao, therefore she wants to show this to him as well. But dang, look at that, her entire right arm almost, her back, wow, poor Hanako. Finally, she takes her blouse in her hands and draws it off, her bra falling from her shoulders, and so, Hanako stands in the middle of the room, all but bared, save for her stockings and underwear. This is me, all of me. Oh, from butt to head, my eyes are immediately drawn to the scarring on her back. The skin on her right side is of a similar texture to that of her face, but it's also stretched taut and covering a much larger area. The scarring is by far the worst on the shoulder, buttock, and thigh. Just as my heart attack redefined my life, this is the event that redefined Hanako's. If I'd seen this when I first met her, I'd have been shocked, not only at the sight, but also at the idea that something like this was survivable. But after having that time to get used to the idea, and after seeing the scars on her face, hands, and collar, my reaction is more measured. My reaction right now is not due to her scarring, but due to her body. The fire happened when I was 8 years old. It was night, and we were sleeping when it started. Hanako's voice trembles, the shaking of her blouse giving away the fact that her hands are doing just the same. I curled up into a ball when the fire swept over me. My mother tried to shield me. That's the only reason I lived. Oh, wow. Hanako's eyes begin to moisten, her voice cracking under the combined pressure of exposing herself to me like this, and reliving those painful memories from so long ago. I want to say something, anything, to make her feel better. I can't though. I feel completely useless when faced with a situation like this. She's forcing herself to come so close, yet it's at times like this that I feel most distant to her. I'm sorry for making you see this. There's no point in denying the obvious. I think what I should say now, and what Hanako wants me to say now, is the truth. What I genuinely, honestly believe. It doesn't matter. You're a wonderful person, Hanako. Your body doesn't change that. She looks at me for a long time, her breathing uneven as she tries to remain steady amidst the emotions we're both feeling. It feels less like she's looking at me than she's looking through me. I slowly walk towards her and gently place my hands on her shoulder. As she lets go of her blouse, she gasps a little, not in fright, but simple startlement. Being so close to her causes my mind to become a jumble of feelings. The scarring on her shoulder, plain to see, and leather-like to the touch, conflicts strangely with her otherwise soft skin and silky dark hair. Hanako is a girl, with all that entails. She's taller than usual for a woman, but still has curves in all the right places. The nape of her neck, just visible thanks to her hair slung over her shoulder, is alluring. I know that I'm not pretty like Lily. I just wanted you to see me, the real me. I've already seen the real you, though. You didn't need to take off your clothes for that. Oh, boobies.